Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto and his clan was betrayed by Konoha. Remember to get this to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels, Anime King 2 and Anime Prince. Yes, that's right, if you're new I indeed have 4 channels that I post What If on every single day. Links will be down in the description, so go ahead check them out. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, you're wasting more time. What do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Start the intro, guys. So, the last spot we left off, Misaki, former Kumo Shinobi, told Yujito everything about what happened with her. As she was the Raikage's secret weapon, they call her a ghost. As she always get the job done, always escaping out of the most dangerous situations. However, she ended up falling for someone. But the Raikage could not have that because she was his perfect weapon, so he ordered for this person to be killed. That sent her over the edge when she found out, as she was cornered by a group of Kumo ninjas because she refused to do orders. She massacred them. However, on the file, it only said that she killed a bunch of Kumo ninjas as she went crazy and escaped. Yujito couldn't help but pull similarities to this and her own life. For as long as she's known, she has been doing nothing but hellish work, training since she was a young child. As she was sick of it, she wanted to have a normal life. She wanted to have a normal family, something that she could look forward to when she was older. However, being like this, she was never gonna get that. So she agreed that she and Misaki left. Meanwhile that was going on, Hiruzen had a real bad feeling that something was happening. He just couldn't put his finger on it, however he felt that something wrong was happening. As the recent development with the Uzumakis, that he truly believed that they were the ones after everything so far. Well, the prospect of them coming back to catch him for his sins that he committed in the past was something that he should fear. While that was going on within the forest, Team 7 had went against Orochimaru. At the moment, Mito was the only one awoke, as their other teammates were knocked out. Sakura was hit in the stomach by the snake stun and knocked out. Sasuke got bit with a curse mark. In the trees, as Naruto sat up there watching her, feeling strange on how to approach her, she just looked so much like Kushina. Meanwhile that was going on, Hanoka was looking around, as she faced off against a team from the Hidden Rain. They had tried to attack her when she was looking for a host. As she had plans, Naruto sent her to deal with something. However, Uncle showed up hearing that Orochimaru was here. She tried to stop Hanoka, her being one of the proctors here, as she should not allow any unwanted guests. However, Hanoka was far above her level and took her out in a span of a couple of seconds. While that was going on, Natsu was watching Gaara, as he just stood there in the trees as Gaara was rather brutalist to that team that he came across. As for Naruto, he watched as a team from Orochimaru's side attack Mito and the others as he jumped down. Hanoka arrived as Naruto told her to prepare them. She moved off as she attacked the Sound team. As Mito was hesitant on talking to Naruto, however, because of her sensory abilities, she could tell that he meant her no harm. As they got to talk, it turns out that he was her uncle. She was shocked by this, as she had a feeling that he was the one that was sending the letters. However, she could never prove it, but now she could. He told her not to trust these people here, as he will be by soon to explain. Sasuke ended up waking up as he tried to attack Naruto, out of fear or frustration because of his new power. However, he couldn't even get close, as he was buried within the ground, just from a simple look, as Naruto looked towards the curse mark on his neck. With that, Team 7 was able to recover, once they were able to do so though. They quickly headed towards the tower as Naruto had gave Mito a scroll. Upon their few days there, Mito was stopped by the same ninjas that she met in the forest. However, Naruto explained to them that it was him. It seems like he has taken over the Sound Team's body. Mito didn't know how he did it, however, he was controlling them. All three of them to be exact, as they spoke for a while until Kakashi came by, as Mito made up a lie saying that they helped her in the forest. They had no idea why, as Kakashi couldn't explain why would another team help Konoha teams, especially a smaller village. Maybe they're looking for a chance to gain allies or something like that. As he informed the Hokage of this, who was watching the whole proceedings. With that, the preliminary came up. The matches went off as the Sound Team, each members won their match, pushing them to the finals. As for Mito, she still had the seal that Orochimaru placed on her, the 5-pointer seal, as Naruto did not notice. So she was unable to use her chakra against Kiba. However, she was still physically stronger than Kiba. But he had the edge with his Getsuga. However, in the end, Mito released something that was stored away inside of her, with her chakra sealed off her body. Pushed towards a severe limit, chains erupted from her back, and they decimated Kiba, making her look just more like her mother with her chains. As before she could go though, he slipped her a note. Later that night, Orochimaru had called his own members. At first he was going to use their bodies for the reanimation, however, now that he saw they pass, maybe there was hope for them yet. Kabuto was a bit unconvinced though, as Orochimaru asked him what was that all about. As he saw the look, Kabuto didn't know why, but the Sound Team seemed off to him. However, he decided to just drop it after Orochimaru told him that everything was going towards a plan, as there was nothing that has hindered them yet. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the play check of yourself, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was sent to the My Hero Academy universe by Kaguya, and enjoy that guys. And remember, for new, yes I indeed have 3 channels, links will be down in the description, so go ahead, share them out and enjoy. So without further ado, what is to begin this new episode right now guys? Begin now. We begin this episode in the mountain regions of the Land of Lightning. 2 individuals quickly dash behind a gigantic boulder. Once they did, a lightning attack slammed into the other side of the boulder, sending debris flying everywhere. However, both of them were safe. The blonde that was there glanced over towards her dark-haired companion. "And you said that this was going to be easy," said Yujito. Misaki simply chuckled nervously, even though they were in a really bad situation. How did it get to this point? Well, firstly, Yujito agreed to follow Misaki to this savior. This person will help her out of her problem. This person will help her get a new life, far better than the one that she was currently living at the moment. This person that was going to change the entire world. It's not like she had much at Kumo. Her parents died when she was a baby. She didn't really have any friends, you could just call them comrades. After all, she was a prized weapon of the village. Unlike the brother of the Raikage, she wasn't that important, and not to mention she only possessed the 2 tails. So she was just used for the higher rank missions, because she could take it. That is what they always said. Despite the difficulty it put through her body, at the moment she was still not at her peak. Her body could not handle 100% of Nibi's power, while she could use it quite efficiently because Nibi was much more calmer than a lot of the other tail beasts. She was not able to control 100%. Not that the Nibi didn't want to help her out, it was because her body was not able to handle 100%. However, they had escaped, but it seems like someone was constantly checking on her because the moment they had left through and made their way down the mountain, the Raikage sent this most dangerous organization after them. There was a Black Ops organization known as the Bolt. The Bolt forces, much like other envoys, however, these ones were sent to do the most dangerous missions, the things that other ninjas would not do. Think of it as Root within Konoha, rather dangerous and also efficient as well. An entire squadron had been sent to rescue his weapon. Yujito knew that she was screwed because The moment she was taken back, it wasn't going to be pretty for her. Much less when they forcefully dragged the information out of her that she tried to escape willingly. She glanced over towards Misaki. What now? Misaki smirked as she pulled out a paper tag before she tossed it behind them. Misaki then pulled another and slammed it over Yujito's eyes. Yujito was frantic and wondered what the hell she was doing. Trust me, said Misaki as she slammed another one over her eyes. Upon doing that, the paper tag behind them went up in a bright light. Now, said Misaki as both of them got up. Yujito was confused and shocked. She was able to see through the paper and also see through the bright lights. The members were all confused as they couldn't see them. Come now! Misaki grabbed their hand as they ran down the hill. While Misaki was an incredible, powerful kunoichi, there was just too much of them, and not to mention, they would be going after Yujito. And Misaki was sure that they had ways of containing tail beasts after all. They knew who they were going after. And Yujito could not use 100%. And even if Yujito could pump out enough power, she was sure that once the Raikage picked up on that, he would not hesitate to come here himself. And while Misaki was confident in her skills, she was not able to defeat the Raikage. So with that, they booked it down the hill. However, Misaki noticed something as she turned. The numbers, they were not adding up. Shit, she thought. She pushed Yujito out of the way that was looking to the side. The moment she did, she spun around and deflected a hail of kunas and shurikens as she pulled out her sight. It was a one-blade sight like a Grim Reaper as she twirled it, deflecting all the weapons. Yujito flashed behind her though and deflected the others that came from behind. They were truly trying to kill Misaki. They were not hesitating or pulling their fire. However, their target was to capture Yujito alive, but that didn't mean that they wouldn't rough her up. That is when Misaki realized something was terribly wrong. She underestimates the squadron number. How much of these guys do you say they were? Not this many, said Yujito, as she was also shocked as well. It seems that the Raikage sent a buttload of his ninjas after them. Yujito knew the moment she tapped into the power of the Nibi, it will draw more ninjas to your location. At the moment, they were surrounded by at least 10 of the bolt forces. Each of these ninjas are said to be an elite jonin. Misaki gripped her sight. In normal situations, she would fight this out. However, she glanced behind her, knowing the complications if the Raikage was to come here, or if they send the 8 tails Jinchuriki after them. It will be worse. I guess I have no choice. And I wanted to bring you back and show him that I did a good job, she said. What are you talking about? Said Yujito as she bared her fangs. Her nails extended into extremely long rate as all the ninjas start to move in. They did not talk. They were just here to capture and kill. Kill Misaki and capture Yujito. And now that they saw that Yujito was really fighting against them, they were not going to pull their punches that much. However, if I were to get myself killed and get you captured once again, he'll be more angry, so I guess this is a win-win situation, said Misaki. She quickly reached into her coat. Cover me, she said. Yujito jumped and deflected all of the weapons sent their way as some of the bolt forces started to rush in. However, Misaki already pulled out. It was a scroll. She quickly unraveled it as she quickly wiped her blood on it. She then slammed her hand to her chest. There was a sealing matrix on her chest as she turned it. Chakra flew out of it and went into the scroll. Poof! Smoke filled the area, stopping all the bolt ninjas in their steps. As the center of the group quickly started to shake in fear, the member closest to her spoke up. What is it? What's wrong? Someone else is here, the censor said, gritting her teeth. As she was barely able to fathom the power, her senses were on full high alert, so once the magnitude of this power slammed into her, it shook her to her very core. As the members quickly started to prepare themselves, the remaining few that got hit with the bright light seal behind them started to come upon them as well, giving them more backup. I hope I didn't pull you from anything important, said Misaki. I told you if you were in any trouble you should call me. How could I be mad? And besides, I'm glad to see you safe. Misaki beamed with a happy smile on her face. As Yujito watched, the girl shift emotion rather quickly. Sometimes she figured that she was a bit different. However, this person, As he stood there, Yujito felt something strange about him. A certain sense of power rolling from him, by him just standing there. He then turned to face her, and he was looking directly at her, however she could not see his eyes. He was wearing glasses. "And you must be Yujito," he said. As she was barely able to catch her voice. However, the both forces had enough. As the commander gave the attack, Naruto's arm came out and wrapped around Yujito and Misaki, one arm that pulled them close. Yujito immediately flustered as Misaki hugged Naruto around the waist rather happily. He then raised his other hand, and it happened. A strange gravitational force eviscerated everything. Bodies were thrown. The entire mountainside peak was blown off the axis, causing an avalanche of stone and rock and debris as everything was crumbling, crushing everything down below. Yujito had closed her eyes, feeling the exploding sensation of power. Once she opened them, she realized she was no longer on the ground. They were in mid-air. Misaki had her arms and legs wrapped around Naruto, her face buried in his chest as she held on to him giddily and tightly, as she seemed to be really enjoying this, while Yujito was being held up, as he hooked his arm around her, holding her up. As she was all flustered looking up at him, he was so tall, so powerful, so amazing. She heard a voice in her head. "This is not the time," she said. "Come on, you can't deny. Just seeing what you did a moment ago got a rise out of you. Even in here I can sense this human's power, and it's getting me all hot and bothered." "Knock it off," said Yujito. "Well, I'm just saying. He's one fine human specimen." As Yujito decided to ignore the nib inside of her, that is when a fire jutsu was hurled towards them. "Behind you," she shouted at him, seeing that he was not looking that way. He simply turned, and the fire was extinguished the moment it was a few feet away from him. She then watched as his hand broke apart. As she stood there in shock and amazement before, his hand turned into a weird cannon. Chakra started to gather at the tip, as it seemed to be sucking into a bright light like a miniature blue sun. He then released it. Back at the village, the Raikage sat behind his decks. He had 100% faith in his bold forces. He didn't know if Yujito decided to leave by her own accord, or if someone was behind her escaping the village. The Raikage had no idea about Misaki, seeing that she kept her distance out of the public and always came towards Yujito's house in, secretive ways to not be seen by the populace. So that is why the Raikage truly believed that Yujito ran on her own. And he was furious. What the hell was she thinking? He would have to make her know that she should never do something like this ever again once she was brought back here. That is when he felt the tremors. He got out of his seat as Mabi came rushing in the office. "Sir, we got a problem," she said, as the Raikage snapped his head towards the location. A few minutes later, the Raikage appeared on the scene, as they had ran a distance away. Once he arrived, what he saw frightened him. Yujito was powerful, yes, that was for certain. She was almost close to mastering 100% of Nibi's power, yet she was not 100% in control yet. However, the Raikage stood at the top of the mountain that was once there. All that remained now was a gigantic crater, deep and wide, as his eyes could not even see the bottom. Behind him was the few remaining ninjas that survived. Half of the both forces had been erased. This was not a normal feat. He didn't even believe that Yujito could do this without a full transformation, which would send her body into a sense of shock, and she would be unconscious for a while. So he did not believe that she was behind this. Quickly turning towards the gathering ninjas behind him, "Report!" The highest commanding officer behind the leader stepped up because the leader was dead. "Sir, she was with someone else when we got here. Her features seemed similar to something that we've seen before. So we went back once they were gone. One of our operatives had the latest distribution of the bingo book, and it was her." As the man handed the folder to the Raikage, the folded page stand out. As he looked at the page and unfurled it. "Are you sure that it was this person?" he said. "You saw her." "Yes, she was wearing an illusion, but it dropped once we start to fight." The Raikage clenched his fist. He knew exactly who this was. Misaki. Misaki was one of his greatest shinobis in one point. When B was learning how to control the power of the Hatsubi, and Yujito was not anywhere near strong enough, Misaki was the ghost of Kumo, able to annihilate forces without a trace. Because of her rare blood ability, she was able to adapt to almost any situation and also take on a visual look of the person once she got enough of their blood for a long period of time. However, she wanted to give up all of that because she fell for someone. The Raikage could not let one of his best assets just leave like that, so he got that person erased. However, she was able to find out and it became a struggle. She was able to escape on that night. He had to tie up loose ends, so he declared her a criminal that went crazy and killed his people. And now she came back. However, as Misaki is strong, she's not able to do this. Who else was here? She proceeded to summon someone mid-fight, sir. A man. He had red hair and glasses. And he was able to release a strange force from the palm of his hand that first level, quarter of the mountain. And he then flew up in the air. Did you just say he flew? Yes, sir. The first thing that came to mind was the Tishikage. However, Oniki would not do something like this. There was no way Oniki would do something like that. He wasn't that stupid. What else? Once he was up in mid-air, his arm turned into a strange canister of sorts. He then proceeded to relay chakra to the center point and release it, which resulted in the destruction of the mountain. The Raikage was baffled, never hearing of something like that before. He turned towards the ninja that was there. "I need a full report on my decks in an hour. All of you. I need everything that you saw. Everything, doesn't matter how small the detail is. I want to know who the hell is this person," the Raikage said, anger in his tone, as he couldn't believe that his bolt, his strongest ninja force, had failed. He was truly pissed off. The main reason for their training was to subdue and handle problems that were far out of the reach of any normal shinobi. And you're telling me that a single person was able to handle them like they were nothing? The Raikage was truly, no, he was beyond pissed off. Time skip. Unknown location. Yujito had no idea where she is, as she didn't know where she was being taken. However, she figured that it was a lot better than going back after she decided to flee. There was no doubt that the Raikage has been told about what she has done, and that she had run away. She knew that if she went back now, things would just be a lot worse, so it's best if she just cut her losses. She was brought to a location that she was unaware of. It feels like there was some sort of genjutsu over the place, because it seems like she stepped into a different civilization. At first there was nothing, and then there was just something. She didn't know how that was even possible. However, she noticed there was kids. Kids playing and being happy. As she noticed something about a lot of them. A lot of them possess a trait, red hair, just like the one that saved them. Long luscious red hair, a lot of them had. Even some of the boys had long red hair. As she wondered if it was a clan thing. Yeah, they must be part of a clan, she wondered herself. As she watched, Misaki and the man that saved her spoke for a moment, until Misaki walked over towards her. "You're gonna have to go with him. He wants to talk to you about something." About what?" said Yujito, as she was a bit hesitant. "Oh, don't worry. Just answer him truthfully, and everything will be fine," she said. Yujito was still hesitant, however, she decided to agree, as she nodded, as she made her way as he went towards a small cottage. As she stepped inside, he was already sitting down. As he motioned, "Have a seat," he said. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Mito was holding a balloon in her hand, as she was trying to pop it at the moment. As she was on the ground, she was slowly getting there. Up in the trees, there was none other than Jury of the sun in watching her with a smile on his face. He had wanted to make contact with her for the longest time now, however, he was stopped by Hiruzen. Hiruzen was taking all sorts of precaution to make sure that things did not get out of hand, even if that include lessening her training to make sure that she stay loyal to Konoha and become dependent on them, and then upping her training to make sure she saw that Konoha was the best place for her. So out of all the other participants, she was picked by a fellow Sanin, the honor, to have that honor to be chosen by a Sanin to train. It was amazing. She should be grateful, she should be happy. That is what Hiruzen thought, having Jiraiya make the proposition to Mito, saying that he saw interest in her. Something that was rather special as she would grow to be a fine kunoichi. Her dream was to become Hokage, right? Mito had accepted all of this with a smile on her face, as she seemed rather happy about it. However, none of them knew what was in her heart. None of them knew about the hatred that was deep in her heart at the moment. Once she had finished speaking with Naruto through the bodies of the sound team, he could not tell her the full story because her place was surrounded by extra security. It seems like Hiruzen feared what is to come. Orochimaru, he knew that Orochimaru was there, however, another squadrons of Anbus were slaughtered, as he didn't believe Orochimaru was the only one that was in the exams. Hiruzen was watching his Anbus watch Mito, to keep an eye on her just in case. Having a sound ninja, making friends with her so quickly and even entering her house would draw much suspicion and they couldn't get to talk freely. And if Naruto chose to block out the sound, that would just draw more attention and have the Anbus enter. So throughout the week they were barely able to talk. However, Mito knew that her name was not Makino. Her last name was not Makino, it was Uzumaki. And for one, her mother was a proud Uzumaki as well. And her people were wiped out. And Konoha was one of the villages to blame. The hatred inside of her heart was growing exponentially. She wanted to get out of here, she wanted to flee. However, Naruto told her that in 1 month time, he will take her from this village. As she couldn't wait until then to know everything about her parents and how everything went along. She also found out that she was also part Uchiha from her great-grandfather's side. That meant in a sense that she and Sasuke was similar than she thought. However, they would never get along, it seems. At the moment though, once Jiraiya of the Sun had offered to be her trainer, she accepted. After all, it would look too suspicious for her to turn it down. He was a Sanin, one of the strongest ninjas within Konoha after all. For her to just say no, most people would want to know why, and everything would look just more suspicious. So she had to suck it up and just take what they were giving her at the moment, even though she wanted to lash out, even though she wanted to scream, even though she wanted to rage at all of them. She had to keep herself calm, knowing that if she did not, well, they would find out, and she would be dead before she was taken by Konoha. As Naruto told her to be careful and just remain as how she's always been and not let anything get to her. But how could she, knowing that her entire life has been a lie? Her rage was getting so much, but she loved her uncle, as she wanted family. She wanted to be there. She didn't want to never see him again if Konoha decided to try and trap her here. While she was strong, she knew that she couldn't handle some of the more elite ninjas of Konoha. She would easily be subdued. So she just remained quiet for the time being and wait until her time was right. In a month's time she would be gone, so it's not like she would ever see them again. Because of everything she's been told, the resentment that she once had for everyone has grown tenfold. She hated everyone. Kakashi, all of them. Even if they were not a part of it, she just find this village nothing but disgusting to her. She always had a deep resentment for the people that glare at her, that shouted at her when she was younger, and now she had more of a reason to do so. Konoha always acting like he was high and mighty when the village was a monster. She had refrained from looking up anything, as Naruto told her that he would tell her everything once the time was ready. All she had to do now was wait. And so that is what she would do. Wait until the time was right. She had no idea what her uncle had planned, but she knew that her uncle was much more powerful than she thought. From the way he carried himself, from the way he had just glanced towards Sasuke and Sasuke was forced to go down to his knees and fell unconscious, she knew that he was powerful. The balloon in her hand popped as she was in deep concentration. While going through her thoughts, a small smirk came to her face as she picked up another one and did the same procedure, and it popped once again. At least, she could squeeze them dry of all the knowledge that she wanted before she was taken away from this village. And that is exactly what she would do, as she returned back to her training. Meanwhile, that was going on with Yujito, as she looked around at the place that she was now staying at. As she was given a room in a gigantic house, the people here was really nice, like strangely nice. At first she thought that it would be hard for her to fit in, but once Naruto spoke to them, well, they spoke to her. She met a few of them that was around her age, some of them being 15, some of them being 16, and they, well, treated her nice. And there was a few adults that asked her how she was. It's been a few days now, as they smiled and greeted her. While it was not the largest village, it was a warm, cozy place. And, well, she did her best to try and help out. She remembered what happened. At first she was so nervous, she was scared, thinking that he wouldn't let her stay here. However, he then took off his glasses. What she saw confused her. She's never seen those eyes before. However, there was this feeling that she got, a sense of authority, a sense of power, just by looking into his eyes. They remained like that for a few seconds before he spoke up once again. He asked her what did she want. At first she did not understand the question, unsure what she wanted. However, deep down she knew what she wanted though. She wanted happiness, freedom, a life where she can choose how she lives. That is all that she wanted. He then proceeded to smile after that, as he welcomed her. Just by asking her what did she want, she never thought that it would be so easy, as she thought there was some catch to it. However, he just welcomed her like that. She did feel a weird sensation once he looked into her eyes, but still, just like that. Unknown to her, Naruto had spoken to the Nibe inside of her. Their conversation was a long one, as Naruto had spoken to the Nibe, and seeing that the Nibe hadn't told Yujito anything, it means that she accepted what Naruto had to say, which was a good thing. And now Yujito was here with a new sense of hope and new life. She wasn't sure what was going to happen after this, if she was going to continue her ninja studies and her training. However, a part of her didn't really worry about that. She was somewhere where no one saw her as a Jinchuriki, where no one saw her as a weapon. They all saw her as Yujito, and that made her happy, as she was outside with the other girls. Meanwhile, as Naruto stood by the window of the largest building in the location, beside him was Natsu as he glanced out towards the girl. It seems like she's fitting in quite well. Yes, said Naruto. His glasses were not on, as he rubbed his eyes. Are you okay? Natsu asked. I'm fine, said Naruto. I spoke to the Nibe inside of her. It seems like out of all the other tail beasts, Nibe is the most subdued, said Naruto. And also, for one thing, she agreed with our agenda. She said to herself her father was wrong. The sage, Natsu, spoke up. Yes, said Naruto. She's seen how humankind have treated them and used them as beings of power. I always wonder, said Natsu, is she really a girl? Well, she preferred that such, said Naruto. And who am I to judge? I guess you're right, Natsu said. So what are you saying? Well, she's seen how mankind use her and her siblings as nothing but mass weapons of power. Being free is the only thing that she wants, while she cares a lot about Yujito. The both of them share a strong bond. Something like that doesn't happen often, however, when it does, it's quite a special thing. And she wanted Yujito to have a proper life. She even threatened to annihilate me if I harm her in the slightest, said Naruto with a laugh. But I promised her that I will only do the best to make sure that she's okay. She would even risk dying herself to make sure that Yujito is okay. She knew that she never had a proper life within Kumo. However, she never had anything to compare to, so she wouldn't understand how they took her for granted. But things have changed now, said Naruto, and I hope she can be happy here. What about you, said Naruto. How do things go on your end? Well, it seems like he had it even worse than I could have expected. His father has been sending assassins after him since he was a child. He really despises and hates his own son. I've been able to gather information and it turns out that he blames him for the death of his wife. From what I got from the hospital records, there was a high percentage that she would die if she gave birth to Gaara, however she decided to go through with it. And Raza has never been the same, he blames Gaara for all of that. The child has become truly twisted, Shikaku. The beast had corrupted his mind. I went in disguise speaking to a few people. A small genjutsu here and there, and they spill. It turns out that the child has been in a constant warfare with himself since he was younger. The only reason why he hasn't let loose yet is because he wants to remain alive, believing that if he let go, he will cease to exist. But he's truly unstable in that department. He kills without remorse. A bad childhood, something truly tragic like the death of a loved one who do that to you, said Naruto. The only people that seem to look towards him is his siblings, well mostly his sister. His brother seemed to be afraid of him. His sister is afraid, but she tried her best, but Gaara just wouldn't listen. I doubt it will be easy trying to convince him before the finals happen, said Naruto. Then what should we do, said Natsu. We will take him during the invasion and set him down somewhere so I can have a proper conversation with him to show him that there's another path than the one that he's on right now. That will be the best course of action because I doubt if you try to speak to him now he will listen to you. And that just might make things a lot worse. As Naruto nodded, suddenly there was a knock on the door. As Naruto glanced towards it, "Come in," he said. As Haku entered the room, "Natsu-sama, Naruto-sama," she said. "We found her." "Where is she?" said Naruto. Time skip. Near the Land of Wind, there was a village known as Okimai Village. Inside the village, there was one of the top bars near the Land of Wind. Given that the Land of Wind was merely a desert area, given its connection to the hidden sand, Okimai Village was one of the top bars within the area, as they had their liquor and drinks imported from other country, and they got some fine steak. However, the price was a bit high there. But this is where most people came to relax, and a lot of the shinobis as well. The place was large and cool. They also sell food there as well, this making Okimai having the best bar in the entire location. At the moment inside, there was one Tsunade Senju. As she was drinking her sorrows away, Tsunade has been through a lot throughout her life. For one, she lost all of her clan. She also lost her little brother and love of her life. It sent her into a spiral. As she went so far, she could not even get herself out. She was stuck. She was constantly on the move, getting away from the village, getting away from people from her past. As she tried her best to erase the past memories and erase all the people that she once knew. She has lost so much. She has lost everything. She had really nothing to live for or look for anymore in life. What was the point? It's like Kami fated her to suffer. Whenever she might have a chance of happiness, whenever she might have a chance of living a good life, it was just taken away. The only constant thing in her life right now was Shizune, her apprentice. Other than that, she had really nothing left to look for. She had hemophobia, making her medical ninjutsu knowledge really lacking when it comes to healing certain detrimental wounds because the blood will mess her up really badly. So that was a big part of it. Other than that, she's never looked for another person to be with, because she knew that if she started to feel something for someone anymore, she would lose it all once again by fate or some crap. So she decided to drink herself to death. It wasn't pretty, but, well, she didn't have anything left, as she's been drinking for the past couple of years now, as she's left Konoha for the longest time. Harrison had begged and pleaded for her to come back, however she told him that she was done. There's nothing more at that village for her. There was nothing more for her to return to. As she sat down, Shizune in the booth as well, who was looking worriedly towards her. Shizune had tried her best to be here for her, however, it seems like her efforts were not helping in the slightest. Tsunade-sama has only been drinking through every town, every city that they went through, and nothing has changed. And Shizune did not know how to help her in the slightest. She wouldn't listen to her. She wouldn't do what she said when she told her to ease it up on the drinking. However, Shizune cared for her a lot. Dan was her uncle, and she had seen Tsunade as a mother figure when she lost her parents, as Dan had taken a role like a father to her. And then Tsunade came along. She was always there, always so kind. So Shizune believed that it was her responsibility to take care of her in her weak moments, despite not knowing how long that would last for. But she did not care. She would do whatever it takes, as she feel like she owed it to Tsunade. And besides, she really didn't have that much people either, while she could go back to the village. It was never really her home. Her and Tsunade left when she was much younger. Her train of thoughts were cut as someone sat down right in front of her on the boat. Shizune noticed several things about him. For one, his hair. His hair was this beautiful bright color. He was wearing shades. This feeling that was coming from him was unnatural. Despite Tsunade inhaling a lot of alcohol, she also felt it, giving her looking up towards his direction. Usually, she would ignore people that come her way, especially if it was Jiraiya. He then spoke. "I'm disappointed," he said. As Tsunade's gaze narrowed. "Who the hell are you?" she asked. However, he didn't answer her question. "How can you go from the famous Tsunade of the Sannin, legendary medic, to this waste of space garbage?" he said. His tone was harsh and brutal. As Tsunade instantly crushed the bottle in her hand, rage picking up on her face. "And who the hell are you?" she said. As her voice caught the attention of the other participants in the bar, a few of them being sent shinobis, they knew it was not wise to go after legendary medic. Despite her being in a drunken haze, she can still crush their skull with her bare hands. As many of them kept the eye on the conversation though. "You better watch what you're saying before I turn your head into this," she said, gesturing towards the broken pieces on the table. "Have you given up?" he asked. Tsunade glared at him. "Who the hell are you?" she said. "Answer my question. Have you given up?" "On what?" she asked. "Life in general. Because all I see is a sad, miserable excuse for a woman that seemed to have lost track on life and reality. If that is the case, it's best if I just kill you right now," he said. Tsunade's eyes hardened at that. "Tuh, you upstarts think that you're strong enough. You really think you can kill someone like me?" she asked. "Well, I'm certain of it," he said. His tone was so calm as he spoke. There was no raising of his tone, no anger on his face. He was just neutral. "Tuh, you better get the hell out of here before I decide to stop being so nice," she said to him. "So this is you being nice? Well, I did not come for your happy side or your pleasant side. I've come to see if you have given up." As he glanced towards the patrons in the bar, before anyone could even move or say a word, Tsunade felt something wrapped around her stomach. However, she couldn't see what it was. The next thing she knew, she was yanked. "Tsunade-sama," Shizune said, as the woman was pulled right through the door. Shizune got up only for her to be stopped as he stood in front of her, his glasses looking over her as she could not see his eyes, her reflection reflecting back on it as she reached for her senbon. "Don't worry," he said to her. "I won't hurt her." Who are you? What do you want? She asks. I just wish to talk. With that, he starts to walk. Shizune pulled her senbon. She wanted to throw them, however. Her hands would just not attack. She had no idea why. Just what the hell was going on? Who was this person? On the outside, Snatty picked up herself as she was thrown right into a destined part of the outskirts of the village. She had no idea what the hell threw her like that. However, she was pissed off as she saw him calmly walking towards her. I don't know who the hell you are, but you've picked the wrong woman to mess with tonight. I'm gonna wring your neck, she said, as she rushed forward. 3 minutes later, Snatty was on the ground. As she coughed up blood, she was wheezing in pain and agony, as her left arm was twisted in a bad way. Her left leg seemed to be broken. As she was panting, the individual stood in front of her. There was not even a scratch on him. Not even the slightest dirt. Snatty glared up at him. She watched as he pulled out a strange weapon. Her eyes widened as she saw that it was the blade of the Raijin, created by Toburama, her great uncle. He added shocker to the blade. Shizune was over to the side as she was bound to a gigantic rock. Her body could not move. Something had wrapped around her. Whatever it was, it seemed to be invisible, as it trapped her where she was. Shizune screamed, "Snatty-sama, look out," she said. Snatty looked up at the blade that he was about to use to take her head off. She was about to die. Glancing towards Shizune, she was about to die. She underestimated this person. She went in, not at full strength, and he took her out in a few minutes. He was merely toying with her. However, his attacks were brutal. More than a couple of times he tried to kill her, but she had the sense that he was still holding back to not fatally injure her. But now, her life was gonna end. The blade was gonna slice her head clean off. She was gonna die. As he brought it down, a part of her just wanted to let go. A part of her just wanted to give up. However, there was another part that looked towards Shizune. Another part of her that just wanted to move and survive. And that part took control as she rolled out of the way as he stabbed the blade in the ground. Snatty struggled as she got back to her feet, as she spat to the side. She then started to bring her hand together before, wait. He said, stopping her. She had no idea why she stopped as he tossed the blade as she caught it, confused by what was going on. I believe that rightfully belonged to you. What? Why would you? You just tried to kill me. No. I wanted to see if you're ready to die. I wanted to see if you have anything else left for. But it seems like you do. So this was a test? Who the hell are you? He reached up slowly before he removed his glasses, showing her his eyes. What the hell? My name is Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. Snatty eyes widened at that. Uzumaki? Yes. I believe that we should have spoken a long time ago. But you've been rather elusive for the longest time now. No, that's not possible. You're all dead, she said. That is what they told you. That is what they want you to believe. I see Mito did not get you involved. Given your temper, I understand why. You would have ruined the plan by day one. What are you talking about? How do you know my grandmother? Because she's my grandmother as well. Snatty eyes went wide in shock. What? There's a lot you should know. A lot more than anyone has ever told you, said Naruto, as he stepped towards her. Snatty was worried about this person, however. She wanted to know who the hell he was, and what was going on. Time skip. The month was over. Today was a glorious day. Citizens from all over showed up to witness the glory of the Chunin exams. People want to see the exams flourish. People want to see the new, promising Chunins. Everyone was excited. People was beaming with joy. In the Kage's boots, Hiruzen stood there proudly along with the Kazekage who he had just greeted a moment ago. Today was a day that could not be messed up. Everything had to work perfectly, as there were several important people down there, ready to witness and watch everything take place today. Over to the side, Jury of the Sun was standing on top of one of the buildings. Things were working out good, despite the past shame that he has went through, despite all that he and Orochimaru had taken away from that girl down there. He felt like he was making it up to her, but deep down he knew that he was wrong. After all, he was a part of the problem with the things that Hiruzen had him and Orochimaru did in the past. He quickly shook his head. Now was not the time for reminiscing. Now was the time to enjoy the matches down there. Someone made their way towards the Hokage and spoke to him. It turns out that the sound team was unavailable. Hiruzen seemed frustrated by that. They were a big part of this exam as well, seeing that all of their members passed. As he quickly spoke to the man, the proctor spoke up and told them that it would be a 30-minute delay. As people boo at that, however, the whole thing had to be changed around a bit. Orochimaru, who was disguised as the Kazekage, overheard that, and he was furious, pissed off. He was gonna kill each and every one of them as he wondered, where the hell was those two, Zaku and Kin? Those pathetic children, they were supposed to be here. He gave them a specific job to annihilate the future generation of Konoha, and yet they failed to do so. He was angry. He was furious. He was gonna kill every single one of them when he found them. No, things had to be delayed for a while. Meanwhile, with Mito. Mito was by herself. She hadn't had much interaction with her team, any of them. Anyone in the village really, she's been sticking to herself. She had everything stored away. She had several scrolls on her, with her entire apartment stored away. The things that she found valuable. The bed and some more things were still there. However, her clothing and several others were coming with her, as she had them. Today was the day that she left Konoha and never looked back. She knew that her uncle had more to tell her. How was Konoha involved in the attack on her homeland, Oza? She knew that it was something really troubling as she saw look on his face when he had said it. As she knew that it would be bad. She didn't know what he was planning, however. She would go along with her family any day. It doesn't matter what. As she waited, she noticed all the participants gathering. An idea popped into her head as she wondered if her uncle was gonna attack this place. She was worried for him. There was a lot of Konoha ninjas here, especially the elites. As she didn't want anything to happen to him, he just meet her. However, she was willing to go to the extreme. "Hey Fox, can you hear me?" she said. The fox grumbled, making her know that he was listening. "You said you want to speak to my uncle, right?" "Yes, what of it?" "Well, if anything bad happens, I want you to take over my body." The fox raised an eyebrow in his cell. "And what do you mean by this specifically?" "Well, you said that you're the strongest Bijout of all of them, right?" "Of course I am. I don't know what my uncle is planning. However, if it entails him fighting all Konoha ninjas, I'm gonna help him, that is why. I'll give you full control only if you promise to go back in once it's all over." "Fine, I promise." Mito was shocked. Really? "You asked me to make a promise, so I did. You can be quiet about it now." "No, it's not that, it's just... You really want to speak to him, don't you?" "I have my reasons." "Which you're not gonna tell me, are you?" "No." "Now be quiet. Just make sure to get ready just in case." "Yeah," said Mito. She knew that a lot of people would die, but she did not care. She's been lied to her entire life. She didn't care about any of them anymore. It didn't matter who. All she wanted was to go with her family and never see this darn place again. Her emotions were running high right now. Anger, there was a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. She had suffered her entire life. These people had stripped her away from her family that was out there while she was here, being treated like garbage, alone, suffer and put through hell. They deserve all that is coming to them and more. She just didn't care anymore about them, about any of them. As the final exam started up, to her surprise, her name was called first. They were told that they were not going to be told their opponents because they would never know who they would be fighting out there in the wild, as her opponent was Neji Hyuga. She calmly made her way down there. Neji had this look on his face like the whole world was bothering him. However, Mito was a lot more angry than him. Arriving down there, the both of them stood against one another. The people were quiet upstairs. As they looked at one another, "Are you both ready?" the proctor asked. Once he gave a nod, he told him to begin. As the match started out, Neji spoke up before she can jump into action. "It's useless," he told her. She narrowed her gaze. "You won't be beating me. Fate has declared me the winner. This match will just be one of the first of my conquests, and this entire exam will be my last for the day. So, I will kindly advise you to give up before I have to hurt you." Mito scoffed. "Shut up," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Do you think you can defy what? Fate?" she said to him. "I've been fighting fate my whole goddamn life. I don't care what you have to say. Now shut up." She quickly rushed forward as she launched kunais and shurikens. However, he simply sighed as he weaved through them. He rushed towards Mito. He smirked as he realized how stupid she was. His Byakugan flared to life as he was going to end this quickly. How dare she try to fight a Hyuga hand to hand? What is she doing? Younger sister of Hinata said as she looked towards her father. Is she really going to fight Neji with hand to hand? Doesn't she know anything? Even if she does, she said, Neji is a prodigy of the clan, and he will win this match no matter what. Kakashi and Sasuke showed up mid-fight as they made their way towards where the other participants were. Sasuke was the one that bugged Kakashi to come back early, as he wanted to make sure that they were there. He had the entire month to train Sasuke. Sasuke had developed a lot in the months. And besides, he also wanted to see Mito fight as well. She was always acting like she was better than him. He had a feeling that she would be there in the finals with him, as he couldn't wait to put her in her place, as he has gotten a whole deal stronger. He noticed the box had less people than he thought. For one, he noticed that the sound team was not here. He wanted to put them in their place as well. His arrogance was showing. It was on full blast as he smirked to himself. Seems like they were too scared to fight me, he thought. He glanced down as he saw Mito. Neji was about to strike her. However, at the last moment, Mito ducked to the ground, confusing most of the participants because she left herself wide open. As Neji simply smirked, he brought his hand down, but poof, a clone appeared above Mito. Neji's reflexes were fast though as he struck it in the guts. He then lashed out his leg to block Mito from hurting him from the waist down, as he slammed the feet right in her face, knocking her back, but there was a smirk on her face. Neji noticed her body was covering something as he was focusing on the clone, and not through her on the ground. That is when he noticed a small, explosive note covered by the dirt that she used to hide it as best she could. Neji jumped back as it went off. He was still too close though as the explosion threw him back. He thought that he would have made it as he didn't want to reveal his rotation so soon, or the 64 bombs. Yet he was thrown back roughly as he hit the ground in a roll. Frowning as he got back up to his feet, immediately he leaped up in the air. As Mito was sweating badly, her hands slammed together as chains burst from the ground. Neji flipped and dodged as he evaded all of them. Damn it, said Mito as she pulled back the chains. She still didn't have full control over those. Once they returned back to her, she glared at Neji before she started to launch weapons towards him once again. Neji disabled all of them though as he moved in. Is this all you got? He said. A few parlor tricks. Well, it's not gonna work. Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, said Mito, as Neji was surrounded by 20 copies. They all went through hand signs quickly, as Neji realized what she was about to do. There is no way that she had this much chakra. That's not possible. What? Are all of them gonna use jutsu? Tintin said in shock, up in his stance. As the people were shocked ninjas. They knew that she had a lot of chakra, but this was insane. Wind style, Gale Palm. All of them fired in as Neji was in the center. He had no choice as the attack came from all around. Rotation as he spun violently. The attacks were deflected. Once the rotation dome came to a stop, Neji came out. The clone spoofed away as Mito was panting. "You idiot," said Neji as he stepped towards her. "What do you think was going to be the result of that? I'm rather surprised that you have enough chakra to at least be conscious right now after pulling off that move. However, it still doesn't matter," said Neji as he walked towards her, "because it's over. I told you this in the beginning, fate has already declared me the winner today." Mito looked up towards him with a smirk on her face. That is when she pulled out that strange tag. Neji noticed the tag before it went white. Neji screamed out as a light directly affected his eyes that were sensitive while they were looking at chakra. Up in the stands, the Hyugas narrowed their gaze. A counter to the Byakugan. What was that seal, many of them thought. Hayashi looking rather shocked by that. Jiraiya was also shocked. He never knew this girl knew any Funjutsu. Hiruzen had a frightened, alarmed look on his face as he tried to remain calm. No, there's no way, he thought to himself. But how? He knew that she was a curious child, but could she really have done this by herself? He really needed to know. As Mito picked herself up with a smirk on her face. "I do have enough chakra to still stand, you asshole. And I have enough to do this." Neji was in too much pain to react as she slammed her fist into his guts. She then proceeded to pummel him. A punch to the right cheek, a punch to the left. She grabbed his hair and slammed her knee right into his nose, destroying it. Neji staggered back, blood running down as he gripped his eyes. The pain was overwhelming, his senses were on high alert, and that light slammed right into his eyes, affecting them rather badly. It caused his entire other senses to shut down, but he was still feeling pain. Because she was relentless. Everyone was shocked how brutal she was being. Mito's fists were covered in blood as she punched Neji. Another. The people started to become worried, as Mito was letting out her frustration before she sucker punched him and threw him across the field. Neji crashed. His left eye was swollen shut. Blood was streaming down his face as he coughed up more blood. His body seemed to shut him down from the pain. First it was his senses and now it was his entire body in agonizing pain. Mito was covered in blood. As everyone was silent as she glanced up towards the participant. They all saw her covered in blood, and the ones that knew what she contained, they were fearful as she looked at them with this look of hatred as she stepped towards Neji. However, the proctor raised a hand, stopping her from moving anymore. "It's over," he said. As Neji passed out, the medics quickly came and rushed in towards the infirmary. "Winner! Mito! Makino," the proctor said. As no one cheered or made a sound, everyone seemed to be in fear and awe. She just beat the Hyuga prodigy. Some of them didn't understand what she used, they just saw the light. However, the more advanced ones saw the seal. "Kakashi, did you taught her that?" said Asuma as he looked towards Kakashi. Kakashi shook his head no. As Mito walked up, as she was just wiping the blood off her hands with a cloth. Sasuke looked at her. "What?" she said. "Nothing," said Sasuke looking away, shocked by her brutal behavior. As the proctor gave him a few minutes to recollect himself, the next match was Gaara versus Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke confidently made his way down there. The people started to cheer once more, getting over that gruesome scene a moment ago. Hiruzen glanced towards the booth as he saw Mito. She was looking directly at him. He started to worry a bit, the way she looked at him before she looked away. Well, that was a really brutal match. It seems like your shinobis are rather brutal than I thought. And here I thought that Konoha merely go for the peaceful solution. However, for one comrade to be doing that to another, I must say I'm surprised, the Kazekage said. However, Hiruzen said nothing at all. The match between Gaara and Sasuke was a quick one. Sasuke had really gotten a lot stronger and faster. He was quick and strong as well. Things got chaotic though when he pierced Gaara, as Gaara released a bloodthirsty scream. First time seeing his blood, he went psychotic. and the place started to... Mito noticed as she started to feel shaky until a spike of the fox chakra knocked it right out of her. What's going on? Seems like your village is being invaded. Uncle, Mito thought. That is when the Hokage's box poof. Purple smoke filled the area. Ninjas started to appear out of nowhere. As everyone started to attack, the walls exploded as snakes came in the village. As Mito looked around, that is when one of the sound ninjas rushed towards her from behind. She turned, the chain slowly emerging from her back. However, someone gripped the back of the man's neck. The ninja was surprised as he tried to swing around, however, his head was snapped to the side, his body was thrown. Mito's eyes went wide. She then noticed, Uncle, she said, with a smile on her face. As he looked towards her with a smile, there was no thing over his face this time. The only thing hiding was his eyes, and that was because of the shades. He then stooped down to her and he whispered something in her ear. As Mito nodded as he handed her something, she then took it and she ran as fast as possible, making her way. But before Naruto could move though, Kakashi flashed right in front of him. As he just saw the interaction, "It's you," he said, quickly pulling a kunai. As Naruto ignored him though and glanced up towards Sakage's boots. He didn't want Hiruzen to die, especially not by Orochimaru's hands. If he was gonna die, he was gonna die by either one of them. Being him, Hanoka or Natsu, not Orochimaru. Orochimaru and Jiraiya of the Sun had been a part of the invasion. They also went in to attack Uza as well, killing any Uzumakis that had tried to leave the island to get to safety. Yes, it was their mission from their Hokage. They ruthlessly slaughtered people. That had been weighing heavy on Jiraiya's conscience ever since he saw Kushina. It was heavy on him. Orochimaru had made a deal with a man that wanted him to burn, and Naruto could not let Natsu talk to Orochimaru in the slightest. While Naruto kept his composure most times, Natsu would have immediately go for the man's head. However, now, today on this day, Orochimaru of the Sannin will die. As for Hiruzen, he's not gonna go so easily. He deserved to suffer pain far worse than he could even imagine. Killing him would be a mercy, and Naruto was not a merciful person. Kakashi on the other hand decided to take matters in his own hand and subdue Naruto. However, Naruto was in somewhere that he hated, somewhere that took everything from him. The glasses cracked as they fell off his face. Chakra started to leak from his body, as everyone in Konoha felt it. Mito came to a stop, but she turned and kept on running. She had to do this. She could feel his power was her uncle. She had to do what he said. She quickly made her way to the woods to perform the procedure that he told her to do. As she came to a stop once she reached a secure area, back with Naruto, Kakashi recovered rather quickly from that display of chakra. The individual that now stood in front of him was released this ominous presence that caused Asuma to jump there as well. Meanwhile with Mito, Mito was startled when someone appeared near her. She turned to fight. Easy. I know we haven't met face to face, but I'm a friend of your uncle. As Mito saw the red-haired man standing there. You were on that mission as well? Yes, I was. Wait, that's... Mito was surprised as he placed down the unconscious Gaara. Wait, what is he doing here? Got another one for you here. As Mito turned to see Sasuke, as the woman he told me was holding on to the unconscious Sasuke. What's going on? Just take them with you. You know how to set that up, right? Yeah, he told me what to do. Well, just pump enough chakra and it should open up and send you to a secure location once you get there. They will explain what you should do. Said he told me. What about you guys? What about my uncle? Don't worry. We'll be just fine. Just take them with you. As Mito nodded, Ash decided to just listen to what they were saying. The both of them looked toward each other before they vanished. Back with Naruto, Asuma had jumped towards Kakashi, as he felt the presence from this guy. Who is this? Kakashi gulped a bit. I believe that he's a part of that organization that we were told about. So, It's him. Meanwhile, on top of the Hokage's monument, Zabuza stood on top of it as he placed down all the sealing paper that he was given. Special sealing that would send Konoha a message, a smirk on his face. As for Masaki, she was also within the village as well. However, she was somewhere else, as she was making her way towards a secret location. As she moved, Haku by her side, on top of the building where Hiruzen and Orochimaru jumped towards. Two people flashed there. The envoys that were there were rather startled when they saw that it was two of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and the cloak that they were wearing, with the Reaper sign on it. Wait, it's them! Back down with Naruto. Natsu and Hanoka flashed beside him. It's done, Natsu said. What's done, Asuma said. As Natsu looked towards him and pulled his blade, Asuma gripped his trench knife. Well then, it's time to begin, said Naruto. But guys, be and subscribe right here. Once the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.